RPA Today Show, hosted by Howze and Wilton Rogers. The show that brings you the latest insights on RPA, Robotic Process Automation, and how it's impacting every industry, as well as interviews with companies that are currently winning big with this technology. You'll also hear from other industry leaders and experts who will be sharing some of their success secrets to help you become more productive and to grow your business. This show is brought to you by Simply Automate, where we help you get more done in less time and more ease for your mind with strategic business automation. Learn more at www.simplyautomateinc.com, and please follow us on LinkedIn. If anything in this show resonates with you, please let us know by leaving a review. The RPA Today Show, where you just might learn something you didn't know.
Hi everyone, this is your guest host for today, Chris Decker, for the inaugural episode of RPA Today. I'm joined by Howze and Wilton Rogers, and I'm really excited to get to know them a little bit more. How are you guys? So introduce yourselves. How'd you get involved with the RPA industry?
Well, I guess you can really say that I started off. It was sort of a fluke, I guess. You know, I was in different industries. I'd been a serial entrepreneur for years, and this opportunity came available to me a while back, and back in 2017. And when I heard about RPA, I was like, "What is this?" And then I started hearing more about it. Like, whoa, this is something very interesting. I started working with a company that was doing it in the enterprise world, and I just started seeing the advantages and the value and the benefits that businesses were getting when they implemented RPA. And that's when I said, okay, this can be a game changer. And when I really saw that back in 2017, 2019, I kind of figured, okay, no one's really tapping into the small, medium-sized businesses or small, medium-sized enterprise sector. We got to hit that. We got to get there, right? And in 2019, I sort of left the company I was with prior, and we started to Simply Automate. And so, you know, basically that's how I got started in the industry. Is that I was introduced to it and saying, hey, you know what, you should apply for this job, see if you get it, and I got it. And once I got involved, all of a sudden, bam, I was hooked. I saw the potential, not only then but in the future for all kinds of businesses. So that's how I got involved with RPA.
And Wilton, I met Wilton on LinkedIn a few years ago, and through a program I was doing, 30 days of videos, and Wilton was just getting started with videos, and then he shared something with me I had never ever heard about. And when he first told me about it, of course, you know, RPA, you don't know what that is. But then when I heard what it was doing for people, when I heard the amount of time it was saving people, I mean, it literally was taking the robotics work out of people's lives. That stressful stuff that people don't want to do, it was taking it from them, but it was then helping businesses accumulate revenue. So like, you're saving people stress, companies are winning big. I was like, wow. And so, I mean, you don't have to be a genius to see those kind of wins and how it makes sense. So, you know, I dove deeper in, and here we are today. We were 3 years later.
Anything you want to add, Wilton?
No, you know, I think just on that point, you know, it just once we found out what the value of the RPA can do to businesses, it was a game changer. It was like, okay, every business that's open today can benefit from RPA. It's just up to us to figure out how we can show them how to benefit. And so
Yeah.
we knew we were at the beginning of something really, really big, because it hadn't even cracked the surface yet. No one even knew about it back in 2017. If you heard about RPA, people didn't even know what it was. Today, people may have heard of it, but they still don't know how it works. So we're right at the beginning of the stages of where it's going to be here in the next 5 years. And we've already built that foundation out to where we can make an impact on businesses immediately. So yeah, it's been a good journey so far. And like I said, we're barely getting started, and now we've built a team around us to sort of take it to the next level.
Let's learn a little bit more about that team and the work that you're doing with Simply Automate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in 2019, like I said, I left my previous job and I started a company. We actually it was called Scale Through Automation, right?
Mm.
And and we just started, working with trying to work with small businesses, and we were getting some kind of attention. We weren't getting a whole lot, and then we all know the pandemic hit, and it forced people to be like, "Oh, okay, we don't have
Yeah.
employees. How can you help us?" So it's like, "Hey, by the way, was your employees doing this? Were your employees doing that? Were your employees doing this? Yeah, they were doing that. We can automate that." So once we start talking to businesses and they start seeing what we can do, we start getting a lot of data and we start getting a lot of information that we can show, other businesses, hey, this is what we did with this other company. And that was sort of the game changer. So the pandemic sort of put us in hyper mode and being able to do things. And from that point, we started growing. And the first quarter of this year of 2021, we saw a lot of growth compared to the previous quarter. And Rob and I were just talking. We was like, we got to get some people involved. And so we reached out to a couple of people, and we got them on board. And we talked to a guy named Craig Kligler. He was more of a what was he, a financial advisor? Wasn't he a financial advisor?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Commercial banker passed. Mm-hmm.
Banker, yeah, yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where but he has his own business. He's a consultant, but he had his own bit. He had a nose for how to get money. So
Yeah.
we reached out to
Which
him,
what we needed.
which we needed because we were growing. We knew we had a chance to grow, and we had the platform already built. We just didn't have the funding to sort of put us in that position to sort of expand. And he helped us get there. He put us in the right people. He brought the right team on board, and we sort of expanded from that point on. And since then, we brought on. I mean, working today, I think there's probably about 13 of us working on the business itself. And before, it was just Rob and I about 2 years ago, and we brought on a developer and a project manager. So we went from 2 people to about 13, 14 people in a matter of a year. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, we're really impacting the SME and SMB market. We are getting a lot of attention internationally. We're known as the U.S. one of the top U.S. or the top U.S. development RPA development firm in the U.S. So it's been a good run so far.
Yeah. It has been, and it really is the team, because as you're building infrastructure is super important. The name of our company before was Scale Through Automation, and that's what we were doing, helping people scale through automation. And now we're Simply Automate because that's what we're doing, helping people understand and simplify the automation process. Because when you can simplify the process, people can understand it better, and understanding leads to people taking action. So I think we're evolving in the right direction.
Yeah. And what to add on to that? What's crazy is like we're coming up with a name. They're like, well, what kind of name do you want to come up with? And because we're like scale through automation that really didn't pop for people, right? And we had like 5 or 6 names, didn't we, Rob? We had a bunch of names. I think it was you that came up with simple
Yep.
automation, right? You came up with simple automation. And I was showing my wife all these names. She was, well, why don't you say simply automate? What do you mean simply automate? She was, yeah, because you can simply automate. You can simply automate. It's like, that's it. So I told the guys, I told the guys, we actually put a vote out there again on it, and they won. So we ended up going with that, and we went from an LLC to Skilled Automation being an LLC to now being incorporated. So it's a Simply Automated Incorporated. So yeah, that's how our name came about, and now you know I don't even know. I mean, I don't even think of the name Skilled Automation
Yep.
anymore because everybody's talking Simply Automate. And not only that, we're able to tag that in a lot of our posts saying all you gotta do is simply automate, and it's part of it's part of the sentence, so it runs smooth off the tongue. So yeah, it's been good.
As you went through your own simplification process, you also came up with the name for this podcast, RPA Today, to be the leader in the RPA industry as a
Mhm.
podcast. News, entertainment, education, and everything in between. Could you share a little bit more about your hopes for this show and what listeners can expect?
Yeah, you want to go first, Will?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
you take the
so
first. Go ahead.
our goals are pretty much in alignment, but we'll probably articulate it a little bit differently, just on a couple areas. I tell you, the number one thing is again educate. Wilton now has on his LinkedIn page, and something he's pushing right now is educate before you automate, or educate to automate, right? Education is big, and so the RPA Today show is going to be edutaining, as entertainment and education combined. When you entertain, people's attention is there, and when you educate, now again you've expanded their perspective. We want people to understand what this is, but then realize how important it is. Our goal is to have people be able to start using this technology to benefit themselves, because RPA very soon will be like a computer. Everyone's going to have one. Every business has a computer. RPA is just like that. And so the quicker people get educated, the quicker they can take action with it. Then, of course, also not just educating people, but we want to continue to be the leader in the space. And so what better way to be a leader in this space than providing valuable content on a regular basis for people to tune into? What you got, Wilton?
Yeah, yeah. Now, I think going off of what Rob said, it's so important for people to be educated at first. It really is, and we've been doing this for a long time, and we've tried other ways just to sort of, show them exactly what RPA was without educating, and they didn't get it. They couldn't get it. They couldn't understand it because everything is so customized. Everything is built around their business, their processes. So you got to be very specific to something that they can really understand. So when we figured out we can't build anything until we educate them, that was the main thing. So once we start educating them, at that point when we start educating them, now not only do they catch on quick. I mean, it wasn't like they
Mm-hmm.
had to read a book. It was a conversation education, right? So we had the conversation and they were educated. They could get it. Then they'd be able to identify other areas of their business that have RPA potential. So for us, like, what? Let's name it RPA Today, our podcast RPA Today, because right now people might not know what RPA is, but like everything else, like Google and everything else, they're gonna know what it is. And if we start feeding off of that and bringing on people that have the testimonies to prove what RPA is, have the knowledge to prove what it is, have the education, have our and have the excitement and entertainment of how this has been going, people will start feeling it. They'll start
Mm-hmm.
understanding. Okay, this is something I can look into more. And it's so important for people to understand what RPA is. If you own a business, if they own a business, if they run a business, if they're a leader in a business, they have to understand this because it will help them. But there has to be a way to
Mm.
identify how it can
Yep.
help them. And everybody is different. Everybody is different. So education is the most important thing because after education comes the immediate knowledge.
Yeah,
And from that
and
point,
also
sky's
along
the
with
limit.
RPA, we're going to be also interviewing other business leaders in other spaces, because see, that are using technology, that are using innovative strategies to build and grow their business and create productivity. Because that's what it's important. It's important to learn about RPA and learn about the new technology, but it's also important to see what other people are doing that are winning. So we want to bring on other winners to help inspire our business owners and entrepreneurs and those who are thinking about even starting a business. So you're going to get a lot of all that.
And I'm glad you brought that up because it's really key because RPA is just a part of a business, right? But there's so many different parts of the business that you can really put your attention and time and investment in. RPA just allows you to do that. So, hyper automation, AI, machine learning,
Mm-hmm.
all these are sort of steps to being able to streamline your business to its
Yeah.
maximum potential. RPA is the beginning of that. It allows you to start putting time into understanding how to take advantage of these other ones. Not only time, but give you the finances to be able to put towards it because now you don't have to put a lot of work into this, a lot of your budget into these manual processes that you already automated, right? So not only does it give you more time, but it also saves you money to be able to invest in things like this
Mm-hmm.
so you can really streamline the heck out of your business. And we're going to be bringing on guests that are already in these spaces that have already automated their processes and have already moved on from RPA, and now they're moving on to machine learning and AI and different things like that because they're already maxed out all their RPA opportunities. So, and they're gonna be able to see how fast you can do it too. The time is not long. I mean, this happens like quick. I mean, quick. I'm talking about days or weeks quick. A process that someone took years to build, that can be automated in days or weeks, right? And so when people understand the opportunity and what this technology can do, they totally see the benefits immediately. So we're going to be bringing on a lot of leaders and a lot of people that have experienced this, that are looking to experience this, that are going through the process currently, so people can understand what it's doing, and also to bring on another network people that we know that are going to be great for our listeners to be able to bring on, so that our listeners can benefit from our guests as well.
Don't miss this, folks. So what I'm understanding here is that implementing RPA in your business saves you a ton of time, saves you a ton of money. It has a huge impact on your bottom line. And you can start implementing it within days or weeks. And I think the list goes on. What I find interesting about the name RPA Today is that this is the current state of the industry. Every time you do a new episode, that's the current state. And as something that I want to follow, I want to learn more about as a business owner, to understand how I can save more time and money with something that takes days or weeks to implement. And once I get started, I can move on to AI or machine learning and just start to leverage up on the opportunities. This seems like a great show to follow and listen to. Now, one thing that I want to ask is to expound upon what you hope to get out of the show yourselves as podcast hosts, as interviewers, as business owners, as edutainers, just anything that comes to mind.
Yeah, Amani, I think I want to be able to be known as a resource, a resource people can go to get the right information that they need to move on into the technology world, basically, in the automation world. Whether they're with us or not, that's okay. It's just more educating people and allowing people to understand it. So when they make those decisions, they're not going to be, they're not going to stall in production, because we've seen a lot of businesses, and we've helped a lot of businesses have gone down the road of automation, and they didn't like it because of the experience that they had. And the reason why they had those experiences is because they didn't have the knowledge and information that they need to make the right decisions. They just haven't. They put all their trust into these companies, that these companies didn't even have the right education or knowledge to take them to be able to help them out. And so for us, we want to, I want to be able to be that resource where they can go to and say, you know what, show me how you can help us, or show how I can be helped. I'm working with another company right now, but I want to know how they can help me better. We'll help you there. So it's more, like I said, we're not going to, we love business. We love to work with businesses, obviously, but we know the importance of this service. So us being that resource, a trusted resource that people can go to and say, you know what, let me check on these guys and see what they're doing. Because now they know that they're going to get information that is solid and that is real, and that there's not, we're not sugarcoating anything. We're speaking from experience. We're speaking from knowledge. So that's the main thing.
Thanks, Wilton. Rob, before you jump in, I just want to add, for those that are listening, a little bit of a problem that I have is that I can know exactly the right thing to do. I can be told that something is going to save me time and money in my business, but I don't pay attention until the emotional side comes into play. When does the emotional side come into play? When I hear a story, and that's exactly what these guys are going to be sharing on RPA Today. It might actually get me to take action too.
That's such a great point, Chris. You're right. It's the emotional charge that moves us forward. We hear, see, and experience all of it, but it's not until the emotional charge comes in. Yeah, that's so good, man. And I'm glad you brought that up. And to kind of go along with what Wilton is saying, the purpose for me, is to build the relationships and the network. Building relationships and the network, because when you build relationships with people, you build the trust, and people trust you. Then they'll refer you, they'll do business with you, they'll listen to you. If they're listening to you and you're saying things that they need to hear, then it's going to benefit them. We're in this business to benefit people. Yes, like Wilton said, we do want to make money. Like, you can't be in business if you don't want to have revenue, but that can't be your sole driver. Our sole driver is to help people, to educate them, and to build a network. And we built a network, and now the network helps each other. And that's a beautiful thing about networks. When you build a good network, then everyone kind of works together, and they meet each other. You never know who needs what. All the while, everyone is winning. And so that's the main goal. Educate so you can automate, build a network, and build relationships.
You want to add on to that, Wilton?
I think Rob hit it. We want to build that network. Because when we build that network, we've already built a network where we know some of our clients that trusted us need help on other areas. We pass them on to our networks, and you know what? These guys can do such and such. So, building that network where people can go to and know that they're going to be taken care of is so important. Especially in because this industry, especially automation, specifically RPA, people are very skeptical. They're very skeptical, and they don't. When you have to be someone they can trust to be able to understand, what they can, what the capabilities are. And because if you read RPA anywhere in RPA, you're going to see it's blowing up. You can see how fast it's growing. You can see everything else. But yet people are skeptical, like, will it work for me? How can it work for me? So once we show them how it can work for them, we become a trusted source, and they become a network for us, so we can deliver their services to one of our clients that need their help as well. And like I said, it's this full circle. So it's been great, and it's just growing. It's growing weekly, daily now, So we're getting a lot of attention, not only here in the U.S. but internationally. We're getting a lot of attention, and I feel like people need that platform to really get the education and a trusted source, so they can make those decisions without having to take a lot of risk, and a lot of financial risk, and a lot of time. And yeah, that's
Thank you, Wilton.
that's the main thing.
Every single major technological innovation has been met with some kind of skepticism. There was a time when people said computers would never have a place in business.
Yeah.
Now it is a basic staple necessity. You can't exist without it. There were people that were hesitant to fly on airplanes until they saw that other people flew on them and didn't die, and all of a sudden it was okay. There are the innovators, there are the early adopters, and then as a market matures, I feel like what you guys are doing is you're going to be spearheading that market maturity. Like, if you aren't the early adopter type and you want to make sure that there's some case studies out there, well, Wilton and Rob are building those case studies. Like, it's happening right now, today. RPA is today, right?
It's today. It's today and tomorrow.
And tomorrow and the future. And it's time to hop on that. It's time to hop on, really.
It is. And
Any closing thoughts?
what I was going to say, even it's time to hop on, even if that means just getting educated. Just getting educated. Pay attention. You don't got to pay anything right now, but attention. And if you look at statistics, look at the trend statistics. Right now, RPA is the fastest growing technology in the global software industry. Right now, RPA is impacting more businesses across more industries than any other technology. But also, less than 2% of small and medium-sized businesses even know it exists right now, Wilton. So you're talking about a technology that is scaling fast, but not many know about it now. Because according to Gartner, by 2025, I think it's about. See, they said 2027, but I think COVID has accelerated things. I really believe COVID has accelerated. I think we're looking at 2025, and what they said was that over half of all businesses will have RPA. So you know, in the next few years, everybody, over half of all businesses will have this. And right now, less than 2% of medium and small businesses know about it. That lets you know we had a very sweet spot. So you can be one of those folks who knew about Google before Google hit. What if you knew about Google stocks before Google hit? You'd be a really happy person. Well, think about your business the same way.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, and you hit it perfectly. I mean, less than 2% of businesses even know it exists. This is the SME and the SMB market put together, right? Less than that have implemented it. Every business that we've talked to, we talk on them on a daily basis, right? Different business on a regular basis. They heard through it. They heard either through some kind of branding we've done, or they heard it through someone else to get a hold of us, but they did know about it, right? So I have not come across one business yet that says, "Oh yeah, I know all about RPA." Not one. So the market is wide open, and like you said, the early adapters are going to benefit a lot faster, and we're seeing that. The clients that we're coming on board, we have a lot of accounting firms, right? We have manufacturing, we have real estate, we have property management, retail. We have all kinds of different industries. The early adapters are seeing the advantages, and they're like, you know what? I want to automate more because now I can take advantage of their competition. Like I can get ahead of them. I can definitely get ahead of them because they're learning. They're getting, and it's so fast to learn. So the crazy thing about it is that you don't have to read a book, and you don't have to spend time looking at different videos to do it. All you got to do is, get on a call and sort of see what it's all about, customize to your needs. And after that, the light bulb moment kicks on right away. And then you're like, okay, I'm in. We don't sell. Once we get them on a call, we don't have to sell. And that's simply because the service itself shows the power of it right away. And going into that call, we already know how we can benefit, how they can benefit, and how we can help them, right? So they're starting to see that, and those ones that you're talking about, the early adapters, the ones that are coming on board right away, is
Sure
going
has.
to game for them.
And you're going to hear from
You're
them.
listening to this episode and you're on the fence about whether or not you should subscribe to RPA Today. Let me give you one thing to consider. What Wilton and Rob are inviting you into is education. Education from the leaders in the industry, education from people that are doing it right now for the sole benefit of you, the listener. So I invite you right now to subscribe to this show and make that investment in yourself. Make that investment in your business, because Wilton and Rob are going to teach you what you need to do to succeed on RPA Today. Are there any closing thoughts, gentlemen? I know we had a little bit of that, but any final remarks?
Wilton?
On my end, I'm just excited to get this started. I really am. I think it's about time that we get it started. Knowing that we have the knowledge and data and support that we've gathered over the last few years, now we can really share with people what we're doing and how this can really help them. So being able to share this now is where my excitement is, and I'm really pumped up to get our
Yeah, I'm
guests
with
out
you,
there.
man.
So
I'm
sharing
I'm
this
excited too. Again, seeing people win is what I wake up excited about every day. And when you win in this space, like the law firm that we work with that has 2.5 employees, and we are able to save them over 40 hours a week in manual labor, and took us 2 weeks to do it or 3 weeks to do it. When you get to see the looks on people's faces when they no longer have to do that stuff, that just makes you feel good inside. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of those case studies and those breakthroughs and those testimonies, man.
Will that be you? Will you be that testimony? Will you be the one that gets to save 40 plus hours in your business with 2 weeks of implementation? I believe you are. That's why I want you to subscribe. Welcome to RPA Today. Let's go.